Ideals like peace, freedom, and justice, they get packed up, but we can all go home. Well, I'm not going home. I'm gonna get on my boat, and I'm going upriver, and I'm going to kick that son of a bitch Bison's ass so hard that the next Bison wannabe is gonna feel it. Now, who wants to go home, and who wants to go with me?
Welcome to the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 304. Before we start the show, we want to thank all of our wonderful fans who have supported us. And if you want to show support for the Rated G Network, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/Rated G for Gamers. You can also find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Rated G for Gamers. And finally, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. We appreciate all the love. I'm your host, Dave Rotino, and this is my co-host, Dan, the podcaster formerly known as Classic Robinson.
What's going on, man?
I'm feeling pretty good right now. As you know,
I didn't know you were feeling bad. I didn't know you weren't feeling good.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling not that I wasn't feeling good before, but currently I am feeling good. That I got the deck built last year, and the fans know I talked about my new deck and all that. Very excited.
You were all about that deck. You were all about that deck.
Mm-hmm. Deck life, baby. I've been sending people unsolicited deck pics. It's crazy.
Whoa.
Listen, it's okay. They enjoy it. It's a nice long piece of wood.
Is that the size of the deck that matters?
It's how you use it, right? Yeah. So the one thing that didn't get completed, and I'm not salty about it, but it is what it is the construction crew, who was great, by the way. I highly recommend them. If anyone needs a good construction crew that lives in the New York area, let me know. I got you. But they didn't hook up the sound system, which isn't anything crazy. It's just a little amplifier thing that sits in the wall, and it just needs power. They already ran the speaker wire, so I just got wires hanging out upstairs, and I found a crew that would do it. I found an electrician licensed or whatever. They're coming by next week to put the finishing touches on there, which is great. So I'll have music outside, which will be awesome. You use the Bluetooth or whatever, hook up a little USB stick, and you can get music out there. The other thing that I'm going to do is set up a karaoke thing.
Oh,
so
God. I know it. I knew it.
Now, hear me out. I got a mixing board. I got a decent microphone. I got a Shure SM48 microphone, and I got all the wires. I got the software. I'm good to go, baby. I got a whole portable karaoke system set up, ready to go. So it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time.
I knew you were going to do this. I knew you were going to do it.
Hey, man, instead of going out to the place and paying $10 an hour, plus whatever the room charge, service charge, or whatever that, you can just do it at home for free. I got all the same songs. I'm going to make it happen.
It's not the same when you're doing it, like, outside, essentially.
Dude, it's even better, I think. You're out in nature, under the stars.
Yeah,
come on now.
People telling you to shut the hell up because they're trying to go to sleep.
Well, you know what? I do have respect for my neighbors, right? It's very important. You gotta respect the people around you, because treat other people as you would want to be treated. Correct? All right. Now, I say that, but I also say that I'm a heavy sleeper. All right, so I can sleep through anything. So if my neighbors are blasting music or having a party or whatnot, I'll deal with it. It's all good. And that happens. My neighbors do throw parties. They had one maybe 2 weeks ago when it was like really warm outside. They had a party on Friday night till like 3, 4 in the morning. I said, okay, it's all good. So I don't feel bad setting up a system that's could possibly annoy some people because my neighbors do it. So why can't I do it? All right.
Okay. All right.
So,
well, you're going to treat them like they treat you.
Yeah.
Basically. Okay.
Yeah. It's going to be real loud
I subscribe to that philosophy.
and off key.
So
right.
I subscribe to that. Keep the same energy is my saying.
There you go. There you go. Same energy. Same energy.
Yeah,
That's good.
I tell people that all the time.
Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, if my neighbors want to come by and hang and join in on the festivities, the more the merrier. Make it happen.
All right. So tell me this, because you haven't on purpose or accidentally sent me any deck pics. Thank God. By the way, you haven't sent.
I sent you some deck pics.
You didn't. Don't say that. Don't say that.
I sent you deck pics, Dan, and you're like, damn, that's a nice deck. And I said, I know.
No,
I know.
Nope.
I know.
Thank you. Never sent it to me. Sent it to the wrong Dan. Thank God. Okay.
Well, whoever I sent it to was like, yeah, that's a damn nice deck. It was kind of jealous of my deck.
Yeah. No jealousy needed. I got my own back porch.
Oh, hey now.
It's pretty big.
Is your back porch off limits, or is it accessible to the public?
It's a private.
Oh, I see. Invitation only. All right. Listen. Oh,
it's only good to come out. You can't come.
Oh, I see. It's one way. It's a one-way situation. Oh boy.
Wait. So you have the door, right? You have the door installed. They broke the wall down and they installed it.
Oh,
You
yeah.
haven't talked about it in a while, so I forgot about it.
Yeah.
And you had this done. You had this done like while we had the pandemic. So I never had a chance to come.
It was the worst time because everything was like jacked up in price. All the materials were ridiculous, and so I definitely paid more than I normally would. But that's just the times we live in. But yeah, it's got the door, and they like put up privacy walls and some lights and all that. So.
Okay, so you're pretty much set. Well, you just need to get that.
Need to get the speakers hooked up. Yeah. Okay. I got some speakers that need to be used. I had them mount them, and they were able to run the speaker wire. It's just not hooked up to anything. So that'll be happening next Tuesday if everything goes well. So. Got it.
Well, just to be fair, your deck is in the back. It's your back deck. Technically, it's not in the front. So
I don't have any room in the front for
I know.
Listen,
there's no way to enter your house from the back deck. You can only go out.
Oh yeah, no, I don't have like stairs going down to the back to the concrete yard that's in the backyard. No, I can't do that.
I know.
That
would be cool though. That would have been cool if you could do that.
That would be awesome. But the thing of it is, so I live in a condo, not a house. So I only own the interior walls, and I guess I own the roof part, but I don't own like the exterior of the building, so that's not really up to me. I don't think there's any way I could make that happen. But
no. So I was watching House Hunters. It's a show that I sort of got into.
Yeah,
and there was one house where to get to the backyard, there was like a ladder that went down. You had to climb the ladder to go.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I was just thinking, I was like, maybe you could have like a ladder that retracts so you can get down.
A 3-story ladder? I don't think anyone's going to be taking that, sober or not. I know I ain't going down that ladder.
All right. I just want to side note. Okay. You remember we talked about in the show Kit and Krista from Nintendo Minute? Nintendo Minute was going away, right?
Yeah,
and we were wondering why. We were wondering why. They've had it for like 10 years,
right?
Like,
and they were
why
great.
would they cancel it? Right? It's not that Nintendo canceled Nintendo Minute. Kit and Krista just started a podcast, and they talked about they're in Los Angeles. They're part of the PR team, right? That promotes stuff, right? And because of the pandemic, I guess Nintendo shut the office down, and people had the option to move to Washington State.
Okay.
To the main Redmond, like their main office. Yeah. So they didn't want to relocate, so they left Nintendo. It was a hard decision, but they left Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why they canceled Nintendo Minute, because they left Nintendo. But they have their podcasts, and they feel like now they get they're free to talk about like Xbox and Sony. You know,
right? You can talk about anything at this point. It's not Nintendo branded. Yeah.
The only difference is, you know, they have the freedom, but not the access. Right? Like they can't just talk to Miyamoto.
Yeah. You can't just call up Mr. Nintendo and say, "Hey, can you get so and so on the line?" No.
Yeah.
So. I mean, I'm sure they got some connects, but it's not a given that they can just get whoever on the show. But okay, so awesome.
They were talking about the Nintendo Direct, and they were like, "Oh yeah, like we knew half of that stuff because you know we were, you know,
if they were in the know.
When we left. Well, when they left, if they wouldn't have left, they probably would have known most of it, right? But they're looking at it as, hey, they get to watch it as fans, right? Because they knew half of the stuff, and then the other half they didn't know. So I think that's kind of cool. I like their podcast. You know, you should check it out. They just had their first episode.
What is the name? Give me a shout out.
Kit and Krista.
Kit and Krista. There you go. Look them up. All right. I'll throw them in the mix. You know, I'll put them on my phone. I'll download them.
And also, we were talking about last week about last episode, what studio should Sony, Nintendo, or Microsoft purchase? Right? Like, what's the next? I'm gonna go.
You got a new contender?
Something small, not a big one, and this would fit. Wouldn't be Nintendo by any means, but this would fit like Xbox, right? Because they already bought Bethesda and Activision Blizzard. They're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna make a huge purchase. Like I don't think they're gonna buy Ubisoft or anything. I think they'll buy more of like a smaller developer. But what about Sumo Digital?
Oh,
they have ties to both.
You said small. Sumo's big. Sorry.
Semi Sumo Digital.
There you go. That? There you go. Okay.
They fit the bill, right? They've worked with Sony with Little Big Planet. They did all the Little Bit games, and they worked with Microsoft. They did Crackdown 3, and they're working on this. And they're well, I didn't say it was good, but they worked on Crackdown. They did Crackdown 3, and they did.
They did Hot Shots Racing too. Okay.
Hot Shots Racing.
Love that game.
Sonic. They helped co-develop or
the Team Sonic
Sega
Racing?
All-Star. Yeah, Team Sonic Racing.
Team Sonic, the new one. Yeah,
and Forza.
That's right. They did help with Forza. Not Sumo Digital and Turn 10. Okay. Oh, they did Snake Pass too. All right.
So they got some pedigree with like a lot of different things, right? They could be a support studio for somebody. You know, like I'm not saying they should make their own games. Like you know, they could be a support studio because they had a hand in first person shooters, racing games.
Yeah.
You know, mobile games. It could help. You know, like a Sony. You know, hey, you know, we want to make a Resistance. You know, we need like a support studio to help with that, or a racing game with Gran Turismo, or maybe something else. You know.
Okay.
So, Sumo Digital. I totally forgot about that. So, all right, let's get this show on the road. All right, we have an awesome show this week. We're going to talk about Nintendo shutting down the Wii U and 3DS eShops. And I'm going to give you my thoughts on Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh, yeah.
For the PS5 version.
That just dropped.
PS5 version.
Well, what other version? Oh, the PS4. I was going to say. It's a first-party game.
Yeah. Well, there are some differences.
Oh, well, sure.
Yeah. 99% graphically.
Yeah, I don't see what else would be. Well, maybe the haptic feedback. That's something that's not on the PS4, but yeah.
But before we get into any of that, let's begin the show with the notable games coming out in March. Okay, and as always, if you get mad that I missed a game, right, or this game really isn't coming out in March, be mad at Game Informer because all the game release dates I pick from Game Informer's video game release date list, which, by the way, is an awesome page. Like, just graphically and how it has all the page layout, it's awesome. You just click on the month and it'll take you straight to the part of the page for that month.
Look at that.
With, like, the headlining game graphic around it, right? So
Yeah.
So we got March 3rd for PS5, PS4, and PC, Babylon's Fall.
Right, a console exclusive for this game. It's been a while. I got to admit, I forgot about this game. You know,
I forget about this game only because I don't care about this game. I know it's sort of a console exclusive, right, for Sony platforms, but I really don't care. I'll be honest, it's not appealing to me whatsoever. So
any particular reason? I don't think it's a Souls-like game, because that would be that'd be the first thing that.
It's just the aesthetic and what I've heard, what I've seen, just doesn't appeal. It doesn't capture me, right?
Okay.
Like their original Horizon game, right? Zero Dawn. You would think that was a game that we both would have liked, but we both we're kind of off on it. But I'll let you know what I think about the sequel in a minute.
Okay. All right.
A game that I'm definitely going to get day one, March 4th, exclusive PS5, PS4, and that is Gran Turismo 7, baby.
Yeah. Yep. Very excited for this game to come out. Apparently, it's going back to the old school style where, you get a couple credits, you get a beater car to start off with, and then you got to work your way up the ranks. You got to do the license tests and all that. You got to grind it out on the early tracks, which is awesome. I like that. I like the kind of throwback thing, and they really built out a game world, right? It's a whole like kind of living, breathing city that you can go to various spots, and like they've modeled like the inside of a cafe, and you can kind of sit down and like mess with your stuff and your garage and cars and all that. Like, it's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. They go the extra mile, Polyphony.
Then same day for the Switch, Triangle Strategy comes out. Now, is this something that you're going to get? Because, I'm not really into RPGs, and this is,
well,
RPG.
It's a tactical RPG, yeah. RPG. So it's a little bit different in the vein of your Final Fantasy Tactics and all that. I'm glad they dropped Project from it. Because it was Project Triangle Strategy, like Project Octopath Traveler. They dropped the project, which is good.
I think
still weird.
I think that would have been cool. Like, you get all those project games.
Right, because they're all under one umbrella.
Yeah, all the project games. Yeah.
Maybe. I know I talked about it on the show before. Wasn't crazy about Octopath Traveler. Wasn't crazy about most of it. I think the sound design was probably the best thing. The graphical style was kind of weird. Wasn't crazy about it. The battles were way too long. Didn't really grab me that much. So maybe there's a 50-50 chance I'll pick it up day one. Okay.
Well, a game I'm most likely going to pick up day one, and March 10th for the Switch. Chocobo GP.
Oh, yeah. Coming back, baby. This is the sequel to the PS1 game. That's how long ago.
Which I just picked up over the holiday season for Christmas.
Yeah, it's obviously a Mario Kart clone. It was pretty good. I think this one's going to be a lot better because it's now, 20 some odd years after the first one came out. So they got a lot of room for improvement. Should be good. Okay. Switch exclusive, right? Is that right?
Switch exclusive.
Damn. Okay.
As of right now, maybe a Switch launch exclusive. You know how they, Microsoft loves their launch exclusive, console exclusive,
and it may come to
it may come to other platforms later on. A game I'm definitely want to pick up too. March 11th, coming out for all platforms except for Stadia. Stadia is dead at this point. So if I say all platforms, I don't mean Stadia.
Yeah, everything you get. Yeah,
I would say all platforms and Stadia.
Right.
Right. So in this case, I'm saying all platforms except for the Switch. No Switch version in this, and that is WWE 2K22. The
You're getting this day one?
Sequel. I'm gonna get it day one.
Wow, you're not gonna wait on the reviews?
Not gonna wait. I'm a wrestling fan.
Sure.
I'm a wrestling fan. I get them every year, just like the NBA 2K games I get every year. I really miss my, actual, regular wrestling game. Like I want to play with like Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley.
Sure. And you want that kind of real experience, the kind of simulated, half simulated experience, right? All the entrance stuff and all that, not wacky over the top moves. Wow.
Not an arcadey style wrestling game or actual sim game.
Yeah.
Is what I want.
Yeah.
I'm clamoring for it.
I mean, sure. I think everybody is. I'm going to take the cautious approach and see what the reviews are, because I don't know, man. I know they had an extra year to work on it, but after all that turmoil with 2K20, which was the worst of the series, it was a shit show. Just so many bugs in it. I don't know.
Well, look.
I don't know.
Here's the thing. WWE was pissed that they didn't get out for the holiday season, and they, held their ground and said, no, we need more time. We come out, first half 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So because they did that, I'm going to take a leap of faith and go in day one and try it out.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Well, good on you.
They could have just, they could have succumbed to the pressure and put it out in November.
Yeah.
And it would have been a train wreck, right? It would have had so many bugs. We would need a patch in March when they could just work on that and then release it in March. So
now, if they're willing to take a year off, the WWE that is, right? Because they could have pooped out a sequel. They could have got some fly-by-night studio to build it, and it would have been terrible. But they said no. It's going to be a rebuilding year, right? We're getting a new quarterback. We're getting a new developer. And we're going to... Because that's what happened, right? Ukes went out. They fell out.
Well, Ukes wasn't developing it solely. Ukes was it like sort of co-developing it. With,
sure. But they were there from the beginning. Like, they knew how it all worked. They were there
from the SmackDown games, yeah.
Yeah. And for them to, like, drop out and then this other studio to pick up the pieces, it was a train wreck. But I'm surprised... I'm surprised they had the studio had to push back, because like the WWE cares, like McMahon cares about the brand a lot, right? He wants to put out a good product. And
yeah, but he also now is a publicly traded company for the last 20 years,
and they need to make money.
They need to make money for their shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
And the reports, we never talked about it in the show. It was in the running for stories on the show, for the run show, a little peel back behind the scenes. We always do a little preview. Would see, what are we going to talk about for each show. Right. It just never made the cut. But there were reports that WWE and Take-Two sort of had these meetings, and WWE sort of threatening Take-Two, like, if they don't get this shit together, they're going to find a new developer, right? Because I think the contract is coming. The exclusivity contract is coming up like next year. Or 2 years, or 2 years, or something like that. And they sort of pushed back and said, we want to put out a good game, because it's not just your brand that's on the line; it's our reputation.
Right.
So, it's a fine line. So I think maybe they could have wanted more time and said, let's do March, right? Let's do March, another 5 months, because it usually gets released around, like, I think October or September, October.
Yeah, it's in line with the Madden or NBA game that comes out. Yeah.
So I'm all in. I'm gonna trust that they did a good job, and I'm gonna go in. But I will say, if it gets a terrible score, like a 2 or something like that, then I won't buy it, obviously.
Well, if the thing of it is, are they going to hold off reviews until day one, or are we going to get reviews ahead of the game launch? That's the question, right? Because considering how bad it was the last time, they may say review embargo until the game comes out. They'll pull a CD Projekt Red on the situation and say, got to wait till the game comes out. So
we have our next Microsoft exclusive, right? March 16th, Tunic. Cute, top-down Zelda-like game. I played the demo. Last year during E3. It was okay. It was okay.
Okay.
I wonder if we're gonna get. This is more. I'm surprised it's coming out on Xbox. This is something I would think that would be out on the Switch. Right?
Well, I was just gonna say Microsoft needs more of these cute, kind of mascotty. I don't want to say like children-focused games, but like ones that kind of have that kind of maybe Japanese aesthetic or kind of cute kid aesthetic. Action platformer type stuff. Like, you don't get a lot of that on Microsoft. That's exclusive, at least.
You don't. But I want to know if we get a physical.
Oh,
is this something that we're going to get a physical edition, right?
Yeah.
It seems like something that's going to just be on Games Pass and be a digital game only, right?
Well, so. I think the sales numbers are the metric, right? If it does well, and the fans are all about it. Community manager gets wind of it. Hey, everybody loves Tunic. Everybody's saying put out a physical. Maybe they'll do that.
Well, we still haven't got Cuphead, and we still haven't got Psychonauts 2, which was our game of the year last year.
Yeah. Well, Cuphead, they were waiting on the physical DLC, the DLC, right? Because they had the thing with limited run, right?
No, there's no. I don't think it was limited run.
Oh, okay. They were
just
doing it.
announced that it'll be a physical because we're gonna get a physical for the Switch. Well, we're supposed to get a physical for the Switch and the Xbox.
Yep.
So I was gonna get the Xbox version because I know everyone's gonna go have the Switch version. So I'm gonna get the Xbox version. So. This was surprising. Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. I thought that was a Sony exclusive, but apparently, according to Game Informer's list, it's coming out on PS5, PS4, and the Xbox and PC March 18th.
Oh, yeah. It was a timed exclusive. Yeah. I think. Or actually, no, I guess they're all coming out at the same time. Maybe the demo was a timed exclusive. Maybe that was it.
Maybe the demo was an exclusive, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the marketing definitely was on Sony's side, at least.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They definitely had that on lock.
So this is sort of their, Souls-like Final Fantasy game. I played the demo. I thought the demo was I thought it was okay. I thought it was good. It was great.
Yeah.
It was a little choppy, but I'm inclined to buy it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm inclined to try it.
I've got some issues with this. Now it's actually interesting because we did talk. I think we talked on the show about it before too, but we also talked before the show about the Final Fantasy games and if they're all tied together, if part 2 is a sequel to part 1 and whatever. And we had
any of the number ones are sequels. We talked about that.
Yeah.
A couple of months ago.
So this is story-wise, it's not a sequel, it's a prequel. Because the origin in this case is the origin of Garland, who ultimately becomes Chaos, who is the final boss of Final Fantasy 1. So it's the story of how he became and his rise to power. So you play within, I think, Castle Garland, which is his domain, I guess, or becomes his domain. So that's kind of interesting. I really don't like the tone of this game. It's very much a Koei Tecmo Itagaki style. Yeah.
Wow.
It's way too.
I'm still surprised. I thought you would be all into this game.
It's way too modern. They have like jeans and like hip jackets and all that. There's no fantasy to it, really.
All right.
It's a little weird.
So let me ask you a question. If you can change the wardrobe, would you like it?
I would like it more. Yeah, I mean, if I could put him in like, the traditional style Final Fantasy armor and whatever else, sure. And I know they have a lot of customization stuff, but I don't think there's going to be any aesthetic that's going to match what I'm looking for. So
you're mad that there's no fantasy element in their wardrobe? Like it's more
realistic
with jeans and a t-shirt.
It's weird, yeah. It has a weird aesthetic.
I don't think I've ever heard I don't think I've heard anybody say. I mean, there's people that don't like this game or don't like this style game just because of the style of game it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is the first time I've heard somebody say they don't like it because it's not fantasy enough.
Well, it's got it in the name. It's Final Fantasy, right? That's the reason why. A lot of people
castle fighting monsters. That's fantasy enough.
Yeah, when you're wearing jeans while you're doing it, no. There's no piece of fantasy literature necessarily.
They're fighting monsters in a castle. How much more fantasy do you want?
I wanted to be in more fantasy garb, right? Throw some tunics on or like a breastplate or something. Right, I don't know.
All right.
Well, I mean, look. It's the same reason why people didn't like. It's the same reason people didn't like Final Fantasy VIII, because it was way too futuristic, all right? You could drive around in a car. There were, like futuristic trains. Everything was, like, way too futuristic, even though you were still fighting all the same monsters and using some of the same weapons. It was a little too, wasn't. Okay. Yeah. 7 was, like, a good middle ground, and then 8 just kind of blew it out of the water, yeah.
All right, so for it to be a Final Fantasy game, you got to be fighting back in the Wild Wild West with clubs and
they didn't sticks. I don't think they used clubs in the Wild West, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
It's too futuristic. We can't have cars. We got to be riding horses.
Yeah, or chocobos. You're riding chocobos. Not
well,
not
you know
cars.
what? Chocobo GP. Wait, that's your BMW.
Oh, there we go. All right.
There you go.
All right. Well, anyway.
I think I'm going to get this. I'm going to try it out. This, I don't know. I need to confirm this because I could have sworn this got delayed again. I could be wrong. I hope it does come out March 25th. Ghostwire Tokyo, first party Microsoft game coming out on PlayStation.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm not into horror games. So this is something I won't pick up. This is a wait for a bargain bin sale at GameStop in December.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to refresh myself on what this game is about. I forget.
It's a horror game. That's all I need to know. I don't care about any. It's a horror game in Tokyo. That's all I need to know. It's
pretty.
It.
It's pretty actiony. It's made by a Japanese studio, right? So I mean, it's got that kind of Japanese aesthetic. What's that?
Not Japanese enough. I'm sorry, it's too.
Not. It's not Japanese enough. Oh, okay.
No. It's not action enough. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's not action enough. Well, all right. Well, we'll see. I mean, yeah, you're definitely fighting some crazy ass monsters. You know, ghosts and demons and all that stuff. So those are your enemies. But
yeah, no, you can keep that. But
all right.
You know what? Not all is lost March 25th because the most anticipated Switch game of the year, other than Breath of the Wild 2, Kirby and the Forgotten Land comes out the same day. I will be picking this up, and if they have a special edition, I'll pick that up.
I'm going to make a prediction,
which they won't. This
is going to be a Dan Robinson game of the half year. It's gonna make the list. I bet you.
Maybe I think that could be a good prediction. You know what? Just put it on the list now. I don't even need to play.
There you go. Number one spot. You know it. There you go. Locking it in.
I think this is historic. This is historic. The first game to make my top games of the year list before I even played it. Kirby.
Listen, I said that about Cyberpunk, and I had to eat my pants over that. But it's all right. It's all right.
And last, also coming out March 25th, that's Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, coming out for all platforms except for the Switch. So, not, sort of like a spin-off from Borderlands DLC. Not really excited about it. I need to see more, personally.
Well, you're playing
I would probably wait. I'll wait for the bargain bin in December.
Yeah. It's I mean, you're basically playing a D&D campaign. You get one of 4 archetypes, I think. Wizard, fighter, rogue, mage, cleric, or whatever cleric. And I mean, like it's going to be like a run and gun thing, but fantasy themed. So
I'm good. All right, that's it for the Noble games coming out in March. So, they just announced that Netflix will be making a Bioshock movie.
Yep.
Now, I don't know how I feel about this because you can't really make, like, if they're going to sort of take umbrage with the first one, right? Like, they're going to take inspiration, I should say, from the first game. The first game was special because it was the twist at the end that everybody already knows about, right? So they can't really do that same twist.
What they were trying to say with it,
they would have to do something totally different, sort of in that universe. So they can't. I don't think they can make a 1-to-1 movie.
Oh, no,
like
I mean,
Uncharted, like Uncharted.
Well,
right, like Uncharted. You have Nathan Drake.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think you could do the same with like Bioshock. Like if they want to shock people and surprise people and have like something, the big reveal at the end, right? They would have to do something totally different.
Well, it's interesting because I guess the Sully in this case, right? Because it's Drake and Sully kind of going on their missions usually, right? Sometimes Drake's alone, sometimes he's with Sully, but he's usually got a sidekick or one of the other female characters is kind of around so they can have dialogue, right? In Bioshock, the other person on the other end is Atlas, right? And Atlas plays into the big twist like 2/3 of the way through the game. So yeah, you're gonna have to restructure it a little bit. I think the good news is that Rapture is a really cool world. The concept is cool, right? A kind of underwater utopia, a bunker that's a safe haven from the world apocalypse. Right.
That we know of. They may go above ground. They may go to the air, like in Bioshock 3.
They could do the third one, yeah. And which I also think is really interesting, and I think they said some interesting things in there. But I think there's a lot more stuff that would be cool to dig into, like, you know, talking about objectivism and you know, the man is entitled to the sweat of his brow, right? It's, you know, the whole one of the big things in the game is like, well, I work for all this stuff. It should be mine without any sort of hindrance, right? And it's like, I put in this amount of work and I should get this amount in return. This is mine. Nobody can take this away from me type kind of thing. So it would be kind of interesting. They could do a different story, you know, that doesn't necessarily go beat for beat. And maybe you do bring in some of the other characters. Maybe Atlas is there. Maybe Sandra Cohen's there. Maybe Andrew Ryan's there. Right. But like they tell it in a way that works for the movie, right? Or in like a movie scenario, right? Because there's no gameplay element, so that's all. What if
they do this? Mm-hmm. What if what was the name of the main character in the first one? Forgot.
The protagonist? I don't know if they ever say his name.
Okay. So what if in the movie the events of the game are happening in the background?
Sure, somebody else is there, and you're
talking to Atlas too. You're talking to Atlas too, and he's like, "Wait, hold on, I got to talk to this other guy, the protagonist."
That's interesting.
Right.
They could do it from a different perspective, right? You're not necessarily the dude who's like going through trying to save Rapture or get out of Rapture, right? Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
So the things that are happening, you already know about, but you don't know about this other story that's being told that's in the same vein as the game. Right? Be a cool story.
So the just a little bit of backstory on this. The guy who's making this movie is the same director as the original Pirates of the Caribbean and The Ring, Gore Verbinski.
The Ring is scary.
The Ring is well. Rapture is a scary place, man, with all the splicers hanging around and the big daddies. I mean, yeah. So that's really all we know is the director who's attached to it and really nothing else. But we know Netflix is putting it out, so there's going to be money behind it. I don't know. I'm excited.
I'm not excited. I'm reserving judgment until I see a trailer. I'm not a big Bioshock fan, as you know. Not a big fan of the show. I like Bioshock 2 because you play as Big Daddy. You have all
a Big Daddy.
You are a Big Daddy. Well, you know, listen, you know, people call me Big Daddy, but you know.
All right. I don't know anybody who does, but okay. We'll go with that.
So, but it's more action based. Right?
It is. Yeah.
It is. Than the first
much better gameplay in part 2.
Because the third one is action too, to be fair. The third one is also action, you know. So I reserve. I got to see the trailer. Just saying, like, here are the three things. Bioshock, not a big fan of, so I'm not excited. Fallout, not the biggest fan of, and I know the Fallout series. You know, they're still making it. It hasn't been canceled. They just casted an actor. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Yeah, the dude from The Shield, among other things. Not Michael Chiklis. One of the other guys, I forget his name. And Mass Effect. Definitely not a big fan of that. So, you know, if they making a movie or a TV show, I need to see the trailer because those aren't games that like I have like fondness for. Like I'm not a big fan of those games. Well, speaking of that, did you see the Uncharted movie? I don't know. I know it just came out, but okay.
Not yet. I want to go see it. it. Apparently, either you hate it or you love it.
Wow, really?
All over the place.
Okay.
Yeah. It's either you hate it or you love it.
Yeah.
So people who are people who love games seem to hate it, and people who are just who don't know anything about it and just taking it as a movie love it. So I'm reserving judgment. I'm going to see it for myself.
What that says to me is they changed a bunch of story bits, and we know this. They basically jammed movies games 2 and 3 together. I think took some elements of it, made a story out of that, and that's their movie. And it didn't align with Nathan didn't do this in the games. I bet that's what
1
it
and
was.
3. 1 and 3.
1
I
and
actually
3.
saw an interview. I actually saw an interview with they had like a round table. If you turn on your PlayStation because I know your PlayStation's collecting dust. If you turn your
No.
PlayStation on.
I was actually, well, I'll tell you what I've been playing. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll get into that. If you turn it on, they actually have in the menu like a round table when they talk about the movie, about how they made the movie. And Tom Holland was saying he went to the director and said, listen, when I'm looking at these postcards and these maps and stuff, you got to get a shot over my shoulder as I'm turning it and looking at the other side. And
I saw that.
Like,
yeah.
Why? Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, because that's what he does in the game.
That's right.
Like,
that's right. You flip it over and you'll get it back. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So they do little things like that, little subtle things like that to make it fit, like, the game. So I thought that was awesome. And the way he falls and rolls and all that stuff, it's exactly what he does in the game.
Nice.
Even though some of that stuff isn't realistic, right? So they had to sort of like, maneuver some of the camera work to make it, look. Right. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. So that's all with reserved judgment. People who love people who look at it as just a movie, you don't know anything about the game, apparently love it. Gamers apparently hate it. So I'm gonna reserve judgment. Okay. Also, I thought this was funny. Crunchyroll is now available on Nintendo Switch.
Hey, there you go.
That means MLB The Show 2022.
Yep. And
Crunchyroll, two things that are owned by Sony, or made by Sony, are on the Switch. This is gonna. Oh man, this is a weird world now, right? 20 years ago, if you'd have told me this, I would have been like, "That's crazy." And I looked this up. Crunchyroll is a part of Xbox Games Pass Premium, the PC version.
There you go.
As of last November.
So it was after Sony kind of inked the deal. They were like, we'll make it part of the thing. Yeah.
Well, again, and we talked about this a few times. Sony and Microsoft are the company, right? Like Xbox and PlayStation,
they're an arm of the company or a division. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, and I think famously when Microsoft and Sony made a deal to share streaming technology, it was I think Xbox and PlayStation, Twitter both like tweeted like, "What? Really?" Like they didn't know, but they didn't know anything about it, right?
Right.
Because it's Microsoft and Sony making a deal, not PlayStation and Xbox.
Right, exactly. So. What Xbox wants and what Microsoft wants are usually aligned, but in some cases, no, right? What would be good for Xbox may not necessarily be good for the overall Microsoft brand, right? It's what makes Microsoft the most amount of money, not what makes Xbox the most amount of money.
Well, they're sharing it because they won, Google. I think it was because Google announced Stadia, right?
Right. They were a coordinated effort, which honestly, I don't even think Microsoft and Sony even needed to do because Stadia was a flop at the get. I'm done trying to defend Stadia. Yeah, we're good. It's done.
I think Apple should buy the Stadia technology so you can stream it like on Safari browsers and stuff like that. You could just stream any game, any of your games from your Xbox or your PlayStation or your Switch.
Well, they'd have to do a lot of work to make it playable and get the games you want to play on there. There's a lot, and they also have to have the server farm to be able to host it all, right? Because eventually it all comes down to one computer, which has all the computing power, or a facility of computers that end up running the game, right? So I
think so. I think Apple can afford it.
I'm not saying they can't, but I'm just saying you got to have dedicated servers ready to go. That'll do all the processing.
All right, Dave. It's that time of the show. Okay. As we always try to start the show, but epically fail. What have you been playing?
Well, a couple of things. The one thing, I did dust off my PS4, and I was playing some Tetris Effect. So I was in the Sony ecosystem recently, and I didn't realize that they made the Tetris Effect Connected, the special edition with all the new co-op features and all the head-to-head stuff and all that. They added that to the original Tetris Effect, so I got it for free, which was awesome. So I was doing that. There's a whole new co-op thing where you can do up to 3 people and you face off against the computer. And it's like weird because like sometimes the game board will come together and you have a massive like board and everyone's connected and you can move the pieces back and forth and then they separate and it's weird. It's weird. So I've been having a good time with that. But the big news is it's not what games I've been playing besides Tetris. It's what games have I been making.
Whoa! Look at Armchair Developer.
Armchair Developer. Come on, I am a developer. Period. Do I make games? I do now. So I made a browser game that you can play right now. So if you go to mtvremotecontrol.site right now, you can play the bonus round from an old school MTV show called Remote Control. And basically the game is, you load the game up, there's a little explanation of what the game is, then you start the game, and you have to guess the artist, the musical artist of 9 different music videos. And you can play them in any order. It starts with the first one. You can skip around if you want, and you guess them one at a time. You have to guess the artist's name, and you guess all 9 and you win. And that's the game. It's a fun little game in the browser. I'm utilizing all of the great music videos that were uploaded to YouTube. So I got a little like TV screen for each one of them, and you click on the thing, it loads up the video, and then you know, okay, who is this? Is this Michael Jackson? Is it you know, the Bangles? Is it Run DMC? Right? And all of the music videos are period accurate, so it's nothing past 1990. So it's basically from the inception of MTV up until the end of 1990 is the cutoff. So if you want a little nostalgia, a little bit of throwback, check it out. Let me know what you guys think about it. You know, hit us up on the social media and whatnot. I'd love to hear what people think of the game.
So it's still a work in progress, though, right? You're still updating it, working on it.
Oh yeah,
making it look better. Okay,
it's very much in the beta phases, but it's 100% playable. You can play this game now. It plays fine. You get a nice windscreen. It's, you know, it definitely works. I wouldn't recommend playing it on mobile because the mobile version doesn't work yet. There's some issues with it, but if you got a desktop or a laptop, that'll work just fine. You know, works on all the modern browsers. So as long as you got like, you know, Edge, Firefox, Safari, or Chrome, you're good to go. Probably work on other browsers too, but I tested it in those 4 and they work. So,
all right. Wow, look at you making video games, man. You know what? Rated G is going to turn into a publisher one day.
Imagine.
That's what we're going to do.
Well, I mean, I had the idea, and I had a general concept of how it would work. And, you know, YouTube is really like kind of the linchpin because they allow you to basically embed a video onto whatever. And it's, you know, it's only one video at a time, so I'm not going to be rate limited or anything. All the stuff is public, right? More or less. There's a couple videos that are, they don't allow you to embed them for, you know, whatever reason, for rights issues, and they can do that if they want. It's their content. But, yeah, I mean, it basically leverages that, and it just wraps around my code, and there you go.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, so I've been playing 2 games. I've been playing Pokemon Legends Arceus for the Switch. Be honest, I'm giving it the college try. I see no difference between any of the Pokemon games, to be honest. It seems
so that's what I'm saying. I don't know what you were expecting.
Pokemon, well, the Pokemon are different. I mean, you know, like you getting different Pokemon starter Pokemon.
Oh, sure. But the gameplay loop is exactly the same. You know.
Well, the biggest difference is the story. I fell out of the air, and I have no idea. I came to this world, and I have no backstory. I'm just a stranger that fell out of the sky. I'm just afraid. Yeah, I'm a stranger that I'm. Whenever you have to name yourself in a game, I'm classic. So, you know.
Oh yeah,
classic. So I'm classic. Just a random person that fell out of the sky, and it's like, where did you come from? Oh my god, these are Pokemon. Did you like one?
I bet
So
I bet they'll tell your story over the course of that. I would hope they would tell your backstory a little bit. Yeah.
Compared to the Pokemon games that I've played in the past, to where like I am now of age to be a Pokemon trainer.
Right. Right. You got a family in your hometown.
Yeah. So that's the only difference I've seen so far.
Okay.
But Pokemon's gonna have to wait. I put that down. Okay. I did install Dying Light 2 for the Xbox. But that's going to have to wait.
Okay.
Because Horizon Forbidden West for the PS5 has been dominating my playtime. I'm already 5.5 hours in. And I got to say, so far, it's my 2022 Game of the Year.
Okay. I mean, I think it's...
love this game more than the first one. The first one, it was slow to get into. It really focused on combat, and the story seemed to be an afterthought, right? And maybe as you progress in the game, the story, sort of gets better. And I did catch up. It does catch you up on the story of what's
good.
Where you are now. But this game is fantastic. Like, now I understand why people loved the first one when it came out, right? Like, I mean, you do RPG elements, you have to level up everything, right? All the weapons and stuff like that. But they have a story mode too, to where, if you want less combat, more story, you could do that. And in some sections, I did do that when I actually got to the town.
Interesting.
I did turn in when I got to the town, like when you get to like the different towns and stuff. Every place you go, you got to clear out a herd of something, right? To get to the next story bit. So when I get to like the towns, I sort of knock it down to the story, so I could just get through whatever I could get through to get to the next story bit, right? Because it's always, hey, if you want to do this for your main mission, you got to do this little thing on the side for me, and then I'll give you this so you can go over here.
Yeah, right. They pad it out a little bit. Yeah.
So the game is beautiful because I have it on resolution mode.
Yeah.
I wanted to see how beautiful it is, and the biggest difference between this and the PS4 version is the visual.
Okay.
Right? Like, when I'm panning around, like there's a scene where I'm going down like this cable car, and I'm panning around looking. You can see the trees in the distance where you won't be able to see. You won't be able to see that like in the PS4 version. I've seen a side by side where someone's had it, and I was like, wow, that's a big difference. This game is beautiful. I still think Death Stranding is the best looking game I've ever seen on the PS5.
Yeah,
hands down.
Yeah,
but
it's still up there.
This game is still beautiful. And they have some Uncharted elements to it where you're platforming. It's not the greatest, right? But it's more than I thought this game had in general, and I'm just really into it. So I love, and it makes me want to level up my weapons and sort of find the weaknesses in like the robots and stuff. The story is still weak to me. The story isn't the strongest thing, but I do want to see what happens. Okay, they do make it compelling enough to where I want to see what happens. But if I had to grade the story in the totality from what I know so far, it's about like a 5.
Okay,
so the story's not great, but I get the premise, I get where they're going, and I love the world. And this game is phenomenal. I think I've played more of this game than I've played of the first game so far.
Well,
I think I played the first game like 3 or 4 hours. Like 3 different times. I started the game like 3 or 4 hours.
You really gave it the college try. That's the thing, you know.
I restarted the game. I restarted the game like 3 or 4 times, and I played like 3 or 4 hours, and I just couldn't get into it. But they start you off in the game. They start you off like in action, like you're doing stuff, the tutorial stuff. Like you are learning more about like what you need to do, what's in this world, who you are. If people learn who you are, really, I won't spoil it for you.
Okay.
But early on, you find out like, oh, you're who? What? Really? Right? Like I'm. This is a phenomenal. I would say pick this up.
Wow,
I know you're not into the first one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were simpatico, so I mean, I would say that the endorsement from you rings a lot truer because we were on the same page in the first one. So I think eventually I'm going to pick it up. Yeah.
I would say you would like this game more than the first one. It doesn't make me want to go play in the first one because I think the first one again is kind of slow and to get into what you need to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of exposition and running around, and
and there's a lot of times in the old one, in the first one, where you had to sneak and do stealth stuff, right? Where it was sort of essential that you did some of those things. Where here, you don't need to. I mean, you can choose to, and I've done some stealth stuff. Like, I didn't have to. But it was kind of cool the way they turned it out, where I was like, oh, okay, like I could just go in and just, have them chase me and then find their weakness, or I can go in and take them out one by one. And I did sort of a combination of both. So more so in this game than the last game, at least from my recollection. I would say this game is phenomenal, and it's my game of the year. Game of the half year so far.
Well, the internet does agree with you. I looked it up on Metacritic. It's got an 88 overall, which is great,
Jane gave it a 9.
Yep.
Like a lot of the major outlets gave it like high scores, like 9. So this is a great game. I would say definitely pick this up. All right. So with that said, why don't we take a break? When we come back, we'll get into the top gaming news of last week. We're back. All right, let's get into the top gaming news of last week. And we have to rest in peace. Nintendo is ending 3DS and Wii U eShop purchases March 2023. Now, they're just not taking they're not going to be able to take your money, your credit card after, March. I forgot the exact date, some point in March.
Right.
The exact date for you. But if you have, like, I guess the gift cards or points or whatever, like, you can still use that until next year.
Sure.
Well, they said late March. It says until late March, so I don't think they give an actual specific date.
Right. Credit cards no longer to be used to add funds as of May 23rd. Nintendo eShop card funds can no longer be added. As of August 20, added to the accounts as of August 29th, right? So,
okay.
Credit cards coming down in May.
So you
eShop cards in August. Yeah.
All right.
Download codes can still be redeemed until March 2023.
March of next year it will be completely done, but you have until May to use a credit card. Right. So technically in May it'll be totally done. I mean, who still has like Nintendo points and cards to redeem?
You'd be surprised, man.
And 3DS.
The gift card industry is one of the biggest scams in the entire world.
Maybe.
Do you know, and I can guarantee you, if you go around your house right now, you probably have over $100 on random gift cards in various amounts of money. It's insane. They make so much money, and they don't care because they sell you a piece of plastic, and then it's like, all right, you do what you want.
First off, that is not true, because I make sure to spend every cent of my gift cards that I get. Okay,
I bet that's not true.
Even my Metro cards.
I understand. I understand.
Even my Metro cards.
I understand you try. I understand you try, but
no, I do. I milk every gift. Trust me, I milk every gift card.
Okay.
I do. I have 2 gift cards. I used most of my Morton's gift card. I think I had like $300-$400 on there, and now I have like $100 left. And I have like $1,000 gift card for a custom suit at some place. Somebody got it for me for Christmas like 2 years ago, which reminds me I actually need to use that gift card because I use every cent of my gift cards. Trust me, I don't let them go to waste. It's free money. Just like my Luki points. I use every point of my Luki points to buy games. So if I can. So I never let them go to waste. But I get what you're saying. The people just buy them and leave them around and spend some of it, don't spend all of it, and it just sits there, right? So I get what you're saying on that note.
Yeah, I just looked it up real quick, and according to Bankrate, 51% of U.S. adults have unused gift cards, and the average person is leaving around $116 on the table, which according to these stats, is about 15.3 billion nationwide of unused gift card money around the world. Okay. So you're definitely one of the good ones.
That tells me two things. That tells me I'm not your average person, because
that's right.
I will milk every single cent. And that's just the second thing. Is just like Metro cards. I know we're in New York City. I don't know what they do in other states, but in New York City we have the Metro card system where you can use the card to get on public transportation. I think the city gets like $30 million a year from unclaimed. Because those cards expire. Like
after a year. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
No, is it a year? Yeah.
I think it's a year. Yeah.
Before it was like 5 years or something like that. Now it's a year. Now we have to actually buy the card if you want to use a new one.
Yep. You got to take the old one, transfer it over to the new card, pay $1 for the new card, because that's what they do. Yeah.
I was surprised that it was only 30 million. I thought it would be like more than that. I thought it would be more than that.
It's a lot, you know.
In New York City, especially when people come, they come here to visit and spend money on Metro cards and then leave and never use those Metro cards ever again. I figured it would be like at least like 100, like maybe like 100 million. I'm over exaggerating, but I thought it'd be more than 30 million.
Listen. I'm sure I've still got some from my trip to France like 10 years ago. It happens.
Nice.
You know, it happens.
But I was really sad to see that the Nintendo is ending the 3DS and Wii U eShops. I mean, Sony pulled something like this last year, and then they walked it back, right?
Right, with the PS3, yeah.
PS3 and the Vita. However, Nintendo is a different type of company. They don't care if there's outcry.
Well,
they won't to succumb to that pressure like Sony, right?
And Nintendo's gonna do what Nintendo does. Yeah.
Yes, Nintendo did. Yeah, they will. But there's some exclusives. There's some exclusives that will be lost. Right? I think there were exclusives on the Wii eShop, right? Like those remakes for Castlevania, and there's a remake for Contra.
Castlevania Rebirth, yeah.
Yeah, and those are lost to time, right? Unless you already had it downloaded on your Wii.
Which
that Wii is now a collector's item.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, like, Konami should have put out the Castlevania Rebirth and the Contra game on the two collections that just came out like last year. They really should have been on there. They should have been on there. All right.
You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna put like Konami classics. All right, it's gonna milk you for another. They're gonna milk you for another $60.
Yeah,
having that on there.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, the only way you can play those games is if you downloaded them on... I think maybe somebody ripped it. You can play it on the computer. I think like emulated format, but it's not quite the same. You know, it's different. It's different.
So there are a few exclusives, right, to the Wii U and the 3DS that will be lost. Besides all the old content, right, the SNES, the NES, all that stuff. I mean, some of that stuff you can buy. Some of that stuff is on Nintendo Online, right? On the system, but a lot of that stuff isn't. So you can't just buy it flat out, and then you would have to go and get a ROM or something like that, which Nintendo doesn't want you to do.
Or get a classic console and buy the game. I mean, you know.
Oh yeah, sure. Oh yeah, sure. You can buy a classic console. The SNES, the NES is $100, if not $200.
Sure.
On the condition and complete.
Sure.
And then you got to buy the game. Oh yeah, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. That's like $300-$400 right.
Oh well, then you emulate it at that point. I mean, you know.
Okay, there you go.
You emulate it. But I don't know. I looked at the Wii U list and I knew it was going to be short. And these are Wii U exclusives that didn't come to any other console, right? So it wasn't ported to the Switch, or you can't play it somewhere else easily. It is a very short list. Maybe
short, but
maybe 40 games, 30 games. Oh, it's bittersweet, I think.
Well, I mean, listen. I mean, you have Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD, which we don't have on the show notes, but the remakes, the remasters aren't they weren't ported to the Switch, and people were clamoring for that. And we thought we would have gotten that with the Zelda anniversary, right?
Yeah.
We thought we would have got those remasters.
Yeah.
Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, Paper Mario Color Splash, Xenoblade Chronicles X, and Game & Watch, that WarioWare game, right?
Right. That was a specific unique entry with kind of unique games in there, for sure.
And then Xenoblade Chronicles X, if you want to play that the way it was intended to be played, you have to pop in the disc now or buy it and download that patch, because that patch apparently won't be available after March 2020.
Right. That's a performance patch, so it's a quality of life patch that's very important. Game had a lot of issues when it came out. Was kind of trying to punch above its own weight class, I think, and they ended up fixing it later on. But you're right, you won't be able to get that anymore. So get that now if you want to go back and play that game.
Yeah. Tell me some of the exclusives for the 3DS.
There's more, at least. I think some of the notable ones that I noticed was there's the 2 Mario and Luigi games, Dream Team and Paper Jam. Those are very good. The Etrian Odyssey games, I think 4 and 5, and there was a couple other kind of spin-off ones if you like dungeon crawlers. Those are great.
There was an Etria Odyssey game that was, I think, the last retail release, and I bought the special edition.
Oh, nice. I bet that was 5, yeah.
And then the Nintendo store. Yeah.
Nice. Mario Kart 7, right? Now, granted, you can play some of those tracks in newer versions. I think they ported some to Mario Kart 8, but you don't get everything, and you don't get it, portably on the 3DS that you can kind of take around and play. Paper Mario Sticker Star. That is a unique entry that you can't play anymore. Those are just a couple of ones that stood out. But there's definitely a lot more that's 3DS exclusive.
There's a Kirby game. There was a Kirby game that was digital only that was exclusive to the 3DS, too. I forgot the name of it, but there was a Kirby game there. And also, not for nothing, I know we have Smash Brothers Ultimate, but Smash Brothers for Wii U do have exclusive music and exclusive stages that are on there as well. So and mechanically it's a little bit differently. It's a little bit different too. I was watching somebody talk about that, like mechanically it's different. So if you want to play, if you want to play that's exclusive to the Wii U.
Yeah, there's actually
the 3DS version.
There's actually 3 Kirby games that are exclusive: Kirby Battle Royale, Planet Robobot, and Kirby Triple Deluxe. Those are exclusive.
Well, no, I was talking about there's a digital game. There's a digital game that you can buy. Buy on the 3DS. So that didn't come out physically. That was exclusive. Right. So that's going to be lost. At least with those Kirby games, you could buy the physical edition and have them. If you're a collector. So, I would say it does. To be fair, to play devil's advocate, as you always told me, Dan, it takes money and time to keep things running, because it's these are old platforms. They're about to be 10 and 11 years old. They're about 10 and 11 years old.
Right. I think what a lot of people forget is you got to maintain the service, and you got to keep all these features up: the credit card payment system, the gift card payment processing, and just to make sure that the server works, people can download stuff. So you got to have a maintenance team on it, right? They got to check in every couple of weeks.
So this is what you do, okay? If you have a Wii U, here's some tips. Get an external hard drive, because they do, out of the gate, it took external hard drive, and download as many games as you can. Okay, you don't have to do it all at once. Do what I do, right? Because I've been doing this before they even announced it. I've been doing at least one game a week, right? So you don't feel rushed to oh my god, I gotta look, I gotta download, I gotta buy it. It is. So just do one game a week, right? You have at least another 10 weeks. So do one game a week and download it to external hard drive, right? Download the patched actual system. So any patches for games, have them on the system ready to go, right? And I have 2 Wii U's. I may buy, there were only 3 different Wii U's that came out: the white one, the black one, and the Zelda, I think it was Twilight Princess. Was it the Twilight Princess one or Wind Waker? I forgot which one it was. Could have been the Wind Waker one.
Yeah.
When the Wii U gamepad had like the Zelda symbolism on it. The Wii U itself was just black.
Right.
So I may go out and buy that.
Little gold filigree on there, yeah.
Yeah, I may go buy that, and then load up games on the actual system on the hard drives. So you have them to play. The only problem is when those hard drives fail eventually. Hopefully it's not anytime soon. Those games and those patches will be lost. I don't know if you can back those up in any way.
Right.
I would defer to Dave for the hacking part of that.
I would refer to the internet. Someone out there has a detailed wiki on how to do it for sure.
So the 3DS is a little bit tricky. There's no way just openly to put an external hard drive on that. But luckily, I own at least 10 different 3DSs or something, so around that number, right? Maybe it could have been 8. So I have so many 3DSs, I can load games on all of them.
Yeah.
So I know I have them. And I bought a bunch of SNES games on a 3DS. So those are the games that I'm going to go make sure I download and keep them on the system, so I can play it in the future. I think it was like Castlevania. There's a bunch of Castlevania games I bought. Yeah, I think it was. I got to check, but I definitely want to be able to I know they said you can re-download them, but for how long?
Right. Oh, that's going to go away eventually too. Yeah.
Eventually as well. So it sucks to be like, if you're just getting into games or you're going to get into games 5 years from now, it's going to suck to try to buy these things and play these things. So, but a cool thing that Nintendo did was, just like Sony, and I don't understand why Microsoft doesn't do this. Microsoft is a software company. I thought they would be spearheading this. Just your whole statistics of playing your 3DS and your Wii U, right? Now, I was shocked when I did this. I was shocked.
So was I, but I think for different reasons.
Yeah, I didn't know I put too many. So I'm gonna start with the 3DS. I'm gonna start with the 3DS because you can save the PDF. I saved the PDF on my phone, so I can actually post it as a whatever I want to do, screensaver or background, which I'll never do, or I'll post it on Twitter maybe later after the show.
There you go.
I got a total of 81 hours on my 3DS, and I've played 34 different games.
Wow! All right.
And the most played game on there was Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, apparently.
Yeah, that makes sense. You love that game.
I do love that game. And I prefer action games, platformers, and adventure games.
Sounds about right.
So, number two game on the list is Yoshi.
Woolly World? Was that the one?
World.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kirby's that Kirby robot game that you mentioned.
Kirby Robobot.
Earlier. Yeah. So those are my top three 3DS games.
Okay.
What about you? What are your 3DS statistics?
So, I've only played, according to these statistics, I've only played 6 games, which is not true. And the reason that's not true is that I do have 2 different Nintendo accounts. I forgot the password or the username at some point, or I had brain fog, and I know that I got one of my 3DSs stolen. So I lost the 3DS XL that I had, and I had to buy another one eventually.
Like the show, yeah.
And I know when I was setting up one of the accounts, either on the Wii U or the new 3DS that I bought or whatever, I don't know, I set up with a different account. So the one that I'm looking at now is the one that I currently use, and that only has 6 titles. So. And I played 148 hours over those 6 games.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. What's your number one game?
Take a guess. Take a guess at the genre. I'll make it easy for you.
RPG.
Yeah, of course. Easy. Now, can you guess RPG. The series?
Final Fantasy.
Incorrect. Final Fantasy is number 2. That's the theater rhythm game, which is amazing.
Yeah.
58 hours in that. 71 hours in Fire Emblem Fates Birthright.
Wow. I didn't even know you liked that game so much.
Yep. Well, It's also very difficult because I put it on hard mode. So when your character dies, they die, and you can't get them back. So there's a lot of restarts that happen. And then at number 3, which is 7 hours, is Xenoblade Chronicles.
I didn't even know you played Xenoblade. Okay.
Yep, I played it a little bit, and the other games are Majora's Mask, the AR games that come with it, the little things, and Street Pass, the Street Pass Me Plaza game.
Okay.
That's it.
So
those are my 6 games.
Let's talk about the Wii U then.
No, the Wii U's even worse.
So my total playtime is 152 hours.
Okay.
On the Wii U. I played 47 different games.
Okay.
And I was kind of surprised at the number 1 game. I'll be honest. I was kind of surprised. I was surprised at my top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Take a guess. What do you think my number 1 game was on the Wii U?
Number 1 game on the Wii U, Zelda Twilight Princess. Did I get it? Oh.
No.
I thought you were in shock.
No. It's my number 1 game is Yoshi's Woolly World.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah.
I put 13 hours. Apparently, I put 13 hours into this game.
Okay. You probably beat it. I bet you beat it. I think you did beat it.
I did beat it. My number 2 and number 3 are both Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2.
Wow. There you go. Ugh.
So I love action, adventure, and apparently multiplayer games. Even though I play them single player, they count. You know what they count? They count Smash Brothers is a multiplayer game.
And 100% is a multiplayer game. Yeah.
And a Wonderful 101 is a multiplayer game.
Yep.
So, but those are my Wii U statistics. What about you?
God, they're like non-existent, Dan. 39 hours of total gameplay. Now this is
2 games.
This is interesting because I never had a second Wii U. I only set it up once, and I'm pretty sure it's always been the same account. So, my God, have I not put any time in this? 39 hours, 4 games. 4 games.
Wow.
I own like...
Wow. Well, at least you could have a top 3 now.
I own like 40. I know. Yeah. So, I'm just going to... number 1 is Smash Brothers. Number 2 is Twilight Princess HD. And number 3 is Mario Maker. And the number 4 game, the only other game I played on the system was Pokken Tournament.
Yeah, I played that at your house. So I don't even think I played more of that at your house than you did.
Yep.
So you didn't even play that. That's me. Okay.
Wow. Yeah. And look, it's not to say that I don't or we don't love the Wii U. We do. We think it's a very underrated system. It's just...
I think it's the 3rd most underrated system of all time.
I know. It's you know, the controllers are a little unwieldy, and especially now nobody's going.
Controller.
Yeah, like nobody's going back to it now because all of the games I mentioned either are sequels that have come out on the Switch, or they ported the game in the case of Pokken, right? All the Mario games, like just about everything. Toad's Treasure Tracker, right? Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, like they've all been ported.
Well, there is one game we didn't mention that is still exclusive to the Wii. And that is the original Splatoon. Remember Splatoon 2 came out on the Switch. The original Splatoon is still stuck on the Wii U. Yep. So, and then Mario Maker, right? The original Mario Maker is on the Wii U with all those levels. That people made are stuck on the Wii U. So, because they made Mario Maker 2. They made the sequel. And if you think about it, the Wii U, the Breath of the Wild was made for the Wii U. It wasn't made for the Switch. It was ported to the Switch, right? So when you talk about Zelda Breath of the Wild, it's the best Wii U game ever made, technically.
I mean, yeah.
Right?
It's pretty epic,
because it's a Wii U game. I want to say, think about all the franchises that started on the Wii, like Splatoon, like Mario Maker, right? Like those are brand new franchises that came out.
Captain Toad, right? That's another one.
Captain Toad, yeah.
Wonderful 101, technically, I think, was
I
Wii U
said
exclusive
series.
for a minute?
I said series. So
Well, they're going to make Wonderful 102 or 202 or something probably.
Wonderful 102. Then we could talk.
Yeah, it'll happen. It'll happen
about the series. So Nintendo, listen, the Wii U, terrible marketing, right? Terrible name. Actually, I take that back. I don't think the name is that terrible. I think it's grown on me at least.
It's not that the name is bad, it's the name is confusing, and that was the problem.
It is.
The marketing and the name of the system, because everyone thought it was a Wii upgrade. They thought the U stood for upgrade.
Technically, it is a Wii U upgrade. A Wii upgrade.
I mean, it's true. Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah.
It's a built-in HDMI port, so you can get HD games, HD visuals. So, rest in peace to the Wii U. This is the final nail in the coffin. They want to move on from it. They want to focus on the Switch, and they said we're at the halfway point, so they're going to support the Switch for another 5 years.
Right.
At least, right? If we're at the halfway point.
Yeah.
Hopefully some of these games, well, Splatoon and Mario Maker won't be ported, but, hopefully Game & Watch, the WarioWare game will be ported, and maybe Kirby, right? Some of those games will get ported over, right? So it's a good time. If you're buying Wii U games physically, buy them now while you still can.
They're only going to go up.
Buy them now.
They're only going to go up in price.
All right, let's move on. Capcom has a countdown.
That's right.
Until Monday, the 21st. It's speculation.
It's a day and a half away as of this recording. Yeah.
What could this be? Some people are speculating it's Resident Evil just because of the black and white font in the countdown. It's being highly suggested by a lot of outlets that it's the next Street Fighter iteration.
Yeah,
right?
people have been talking about Street Fighter for a while now, so that's not surprising.
I guess my question to you is, what do you want it to be? Not what do you think it will be. What do you want?
Let's go, Beautiful Joe. Come on now. Easy.
You want
Easy.
a new beautiful
It's baby question, Dan. Beautiful Joe.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay.
Or also I'll take a new Bionic Commando. I'll take a good Bionic Commando.
I don't think they would do a countdown for Bionic Commando.
Why not, man? It was the original one was fantastic.
No. Okay.
The updated one, Bionic Commando Rearmed, Rearmed was the remake. Whatever the new one was on like 360 was terrible.
All right. So you know what I want? I'll tell you what I want. How about a new Mega Man game?
Okay.
How about that? I think
100%.
that deserves a countdown, right?
100%.
Power Stone 3?
100%. Yes.
Power
These
Stone 3?
are all good ideas. How about a sequel to
a Mega Man X game, a new Mega Man. We got Mega Man 11.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How about Mega Man X
ago.
game?
Okay. That'd be Mega Man X9. Yeah, X9.
Yeah.
I could take a new Rival Schools fighting game, right?
I could take that too. Wow.
Right? That would be awesome.
Into the vault.
That's right. The last game that we got was on the Dreamcast. Wasn't called Rival Schools though. Project Omega or something like that.
Project I have that game. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. It's good, but I mean, it's also 20 years old. It could do with a update.
So I don't think. Okay, so back to reality now.
Project Justice. That's it.
I have yes. That's a great game. I thought I have that. It's one of the prized possessions for the Dreamcast. Back to reality. I don't think it'll be Resident Evil. We just got Resident Evil last year, right? And I don't think they'll do a countdown for DLC. The only thing I could see them doing a countdown for Resident Evil related is Resident Evil 4 remake, right?
Sure, or a new Outbreak version. I think some people have been speculating, which is a possibility. But you're right. We did just get a Resident Evil game, and it was good. It was very good.
So I would say maybe the Street Fighter thing could be along the lines of reality, right? A new Street Fighter game.
I think Street Fighter is the most likely outcome because the last Street Fighter was 2015. Now they've been seasons 1, 2, and 3, a bunch of new characters. They've been supporting it. But it's getting a little old.
Arcade edition, championship edition, all of that.
Exactly.
I have every single iteration.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. All right, Dave, switch gears. Let's talk about Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk 2077. The patch is out, 1.5. It's available now. It is essentially what the game should have been when it launched. On consoles, at least, not PC.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to jump in. And I want to jump in. I'm going to start a brand new save.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
On my PS5.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully I can, I want to optimize the resolution because I want to get the best looking game possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm all in. Have you played? Have you jumped in yet?
I downloaded, there was a 62 gig patch. I don't know how much of that was from prior patches, but I think most of this is new. So it still would have been pretty high. I'm assuming at least 40, maybe 50 gigs. Whatever. There's a couple of free DLC things, which are cool. There's like a new car option. There's a new skin for Johnny Silverhand, which is kind of cool, and something else.
You can rent your apartments too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you can customize the apartment, not just with burritos.
Yeah. Yeah. they added some actual customization to it. There's a bunch of new weapons in there. There's a lot of game rebalancing in terms of the economy, which is good. The visual improvements, I didn't really notice a difference because I think the PC had all of that stuff. It was performant,
like the ray tracing and the rate shading, right? The variable.
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff that they were waiting on for consoles for the next gen patch because, the next gen consoles came out when the game came out, and they just didn't have that stuff ready. It was still a game that was like technically the last or current generation. It wasn't forward thinking, and now they've kind of moved that up a little bit, but.
The coolest thing they have is when you actually take a shower, right? And it applies refreshed for 1 hour, and sleeping regenerates the health, and brewing coffee will get you energized. Like
that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
Why wasn't this in the original game? I don't understand, but okay.
Well, I mean, look, is
simple?
Is being able to drink coffee a game-breaking feature if it's not in there? There was some bigger fish to fry. That's really what it came down to. There was a lot wrong with it. I mean, I agree, but those are the tickets. Those are the code bits that you work on after you get all the big stuff out of the way, right? After you get the cars that don't spawn, or the enemies that immediately appear when you do something wrong, or Well,
they said that people actually, when if there's a shootout or something, people actually scatter.
Right.
People right. Stuff, right.
See, that's important, right? You should have realistic crowd physics or whatever, or crowd AI or whatever it is. Yeah. So I mean, the bit that I played was good. I kind of had to refresh where I was in the story a little bit, but I ended up making it through, and it was definitely performant. But it seems to play a little bit better. It's a bit better frame rate, which is good, and it still looked great. Sounded great, So I'm gonna get back into it. I'm gonna go and beat this game.
How big is this patch, though? I don't think I have that much room on my PS5 hard drive.
Well,
anymore. I'm gonna have to start deleting games.
If it's what it was,
Horizon alone is a lot too.
If it's what it was for the PC, 62.5 gigs of space.
Cyberpunk alone is 100 gigs.
Yep.
It's like talking about 200 gigs. This is crazy. That's like half the hard drive space. That's crazy.
All
right. You know what else is crazy, Dave? Apparently, there's a report out there that says EA blames Halo Infinite for Battlefield 2042's poor reception.
Oh.
This comes from this report. This was reported by Tom Henderson of Xfire, detailing a recent town hall meeting called by EA, where they were surprised by the launch of Halo Infinite multiplayer, and they were blaming that on the poor reception of Battlefield.
So they launched it a couple weeks early.
To be fair, to be fair though, EA has since denied this claim.
Oh, of course. Come on now.
But I believe it to be true as well.
Well, I mean, I'm sure somebody recorded the town hall. Like we can find the documents. That's not difficult to do. So I'm right there with you. I believe this to be true. You don't as a company, you don't want you don't want that to be to kind of come out as like a, we blame this thing for our failure, and it's like it's not. No. Now, granted.
Do you think there's a hint of truth in that though? Right?
No.
Because the multiplayer coming out was a surprise, right? We thought the multiplayer would come out with the single player in December, but the multiplayer came out weeks earlier.
Sure, and it's kind of a thing we talked about with Titanfall,
and it was free
right?
to play. I know, and it was free to play.
Yeah.
Big kicker. So.
Well, we talked about it with Titanfall. When Titanfall 2 came out, you made the argument that both Battlefield and Call of Duty, which are established franchises, have a bigger, more rabid fan base, came out at the wrong time. Should have been pushed to maybe 2018 or 17 or whenever Part 2 came out, push it to next year. And I think you're right. Like, that kind of got lost in the shuffle, right? Now, having Halo come out isn't going to help, but even without Halo, it was a broken game. It had a lot of issues with it. So it's not great that you have this free-to-play game that anybody can play on Xbox or PC for free, but if you have a better product, people will play it, right? People like Battlefield. They like Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5. Those were great. Most of the previous installations were great. So there's a fan base there. It's just, it wasn't a good game. And I still think it's got issues. So you can blame Halo, and you can say Halo was part of it. And it is. But if you make a good game, people will come, right? It wasn't for a lack of marketing. It wasn't for a lack of hype. Everybody knew about this game. Everybody knew it was coming out. I was kind of hyped for it, and there it is.
So here's my unique take to it.
Okay.
Half the reason, in my view, and I know it's just my view, I'm probably saying on this by myself. Half of the reason why it get poor reception because there was no single player.
Yep.
Experience for people like me to buy the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I didn't buy the game because it's all multiplayer.
That was an issue with
Black Ops 4.
That was it. Yeah, right. So, Black Ops 4 and Titanfall 1 didn't have single player, and it hurt that game.
Yeah. But I bought it thinking that it had single player, and it didn't.
Right. So. But if it's a poor single player experience, having single player doesn't even matter, right? At the end of the day,
true,
it was a bad game.
True, but at least you would have got my money, right? Like
you would have got some more money out the gate for sure.
You would have got some more money from people, casuals who are just going to buy it like I am for the story, right?
Sure,
we may be only 20%, but that's 20% you're losing,
right? Yeah, of course. And then that's crazy.
Why not just keep the game for another year? Like do what 2K, what Take-Two did with WWE 2K, right? Like just hold the game off for another year, or maybe hold off until March or April or something like that when you fixed all the bugs. Right? Like they knew they were launching it in a buggy mess.
Well, right? That happens all too often because you got to make money. You got to put product out.
They're not starving for money. I mean, like we talked about. There was talks of somebody, maybe Microsoft could buy EA, and EA said no, they're the ones that are buying other people because they have reserves. So
they got money. Yeah, they got money. I mean, for sure. But name me a game where EA waited on to put out.
Well, name me a game that they should have waited on. Battlefield.
There's a ton of them. I agree, but that's not their MO. They got the shareholders, like you said before. They gotta appease those shareholders. They gotta make money.
They do.
You gotta make money in that last Q4, right?
So,
you gotta make that money.
All right. Speaking of last, this is the last story on the docket.
Oh,
and this is a cautionary tale for anybody buying any used items anywhere, and any type of used item, to be honest. But there's a gamer that claims that she found cockroaches inside her used Xbox Series X console that she bought from GameStop.
You said cockroaches, yes? I just want to get that correctly. Yes. Living insects inside her console. Oh,
correct.
Oh. So, I looked into this a little bit. She posted a pretty, what she calls a long video. I guess it's long for TikTok, because TikTok things are like 6 seconds. It's the new Vine or whatever.
Correct.
But she posted the story and the follow-up and all that, and she was visibly distraught.
I would be too if the cockroaches in
I know.
Like,
she said that she moved all of her stuff into storage, got an exterminator or is in the process of getting an exterminator to like bug bomb the house. And she's just like shooken up over it. Cause like once you get an infestation, even if it's just
hard to get out
or two, right? You know, and they always say, if you see one, there's more always, you know, they're just in the wall somewhere. So she contacted, she contacted, the district manager. I forget. It was some state down south, Virginia maybe, or something like that. I don't know. She contacted the district manager, got him on the line. The best that they would do was to give her like a gift card and a discount on another pre-owned system. They weren't going to take it back or just give her another system. Because at the end of the day, right? I believe that the person who traded it in probably had an infestation, and that's where they came from, and the little bugs were in there, and then GameStop just didn't realize or didn't notice, and they sold the system, and then
they didn't. Okay, so I don't think it's on
GameStop necessarily.
This is where I slightly disagree, and I'm sorry, I slightly disagree.
Okay,
I see where you're going, but if you're going to take anything in for pre-order, trade-in,
yeah.
I'm not saying they got to open the console. Okay?
They never do, yeah.
I'm not going to say they need to open a console, but they need to shake it out or something, right? Like there needs to be a process. They test it.
They do.
They do test it, but they need to hit like a compressed air and blow into it, right, in the box or something, and see if anything comes out. I'm sorry, you should be doing that. And you know what? It's not even for this reasons why you think. Not even because you're going to resell it to someone and give them an infestation. It's going to sit in your store.
Well, that's yeah. Think about how many got out already out of there, right? Because there could be a lot of them. It seems like there was a lot in there.
It could be an infestation in the store and infect other consoles and get in the boxes and everything like that. And now you're giving everybody infestation. So it's not even for, reselling it somewhere. It's you don't want to have the store have infestation. Now you got to shut the store down. The store's already losing money as it is, right? You got to shut it down and get an exterminator in there. So it should be like a box. Like they should have like a big box. And trust me, they get boxes in all the time. Big box. They put it in, hit it with compressed air, see if anything,
see what comes out.
See if anything comes out. And if it is, sorry, we can't take this in. You got it. It's yours. Right.
Well,
and then throw that box out. So that's where I say that's the policy of the store. That's where it's their fault.
Right. Well, there was a story, Spawnwave on YouTube, right? As a guy that we love, and he was telling a story. He used to work in a game store. I don't know if it may have been a GameStop actually, or
I think it was a GameStop where they repaired. I think they repaired, or maybe a retro game store where they repaired broken consoles too.
Right. And he was working on someone's PS3. He said, "Oh, the PS3 didn't turn on or whatever," and he was okay. We'll go ahead and take a look at it. And immediately after he got like the shell off of it, he saw cockroaches in there. Immediately had to, triple bag up the system, and put it in a contained space in the corner, call the guy up and say, you got to get this thing out of here. We can't take a look at it. All right. So it happens, It
does.
It happens. It's, So yeah, we're not saying you have to open the systems up, although that may be something that, you would need to do as a company. At a bare minimum, GameStop needs to give her a brand new system free of charge and pay for the exterminator, right? Because I don't believe it came. Well, I mean, now it's all over the internet. The infestation of her TikTok video is now out there, and there you go. So I mean, listen. Even as a retro collector, we go to garage sales. Yep.
Right. Like I don't know what's in their garage.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Or their attic, or wherever their basement, wherever they kept all this stuff at.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm bringing a console home, because it's easier to check the game cases, right? When you bring games, and even that, put it in my book bag. When I take it out of the book bag, I wipe it down with alcohol or whatever. And
I do the same. Yeah, I get some Clorox wipes on there just to kind of get the outside clean. Yeah.
Yeah. But if I'm buying like a box full of stuff, or I'm getting a console, that sits in my back porch, until I'm ready to handle it, and I take it out and I spray it with condensed air and I shake it just to make sure there are no roaches in it. I did that with the PS3, the OG PS3 that I got. So
right.
You always got to make sure you got to take care of that and make sure so you don't have an infestation in your house. I have
a quick cockroach story before we get out on this, and I had one crawl up my leg. All right, I'm just gonna cut to the chase. I had a big one, like big, Dan, like big. Like
big?
Big John Stud big, like Andre the Giant big. All right, I'm gonna put this in wrestling terms. That shit was big, and it crawled up my leg. I was working downtown, and I was in the office, and I felt something on my pant leg, right? And then I was like, oh, is that it felt like breeze or wind or someone like grazed against your leg, but there was nothing down there, right? It was at the foot of my desk.
I thought it would have tickled you. It feels like it's tickling because it's climbing up.
Something like that. It honestly felt like, wind brushing against my leg or whatever. And then I went down to brush my leg, and then the big ass cockroach popped out, and I was like, oh, and I fucking screamed. I was like, oh, and then I looked around and I found like a piece of wood, and I was just wham, and it was done. And I'm like, okay, we're good. We're good.
You could have just stepped on it. Why you had to get wood?
Well, I don't want to ruin the bottom of my shoe, And it was, and
your shoe is already ruined when you.
No. And also the piece of wood had a larger base, so it was a lot easier to hit with. So I was just like, all right, wham, and I got it, and I'm like, oh god. And, my boss immediately was on the phone calling an exterminator. It was like, all right, we got to fix this issue. It was a very old building. It's not his fault. It's not anybody's fault. It was just like, whew, yeah, not cool. Not cool.
All right. I don't want to talk about roaches anymore.
Yeah, no, please.
Let's stop talking about it.
I know we like to end on a good note, but I think we missed the mark this week.
We are. We're done.
Oh, okay. All right. Steer the ship back.
What are you doing this weekend?
Oh,
extended weekend, right? Because Monday is a holiday.
That's right.
Day in America.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. What are you doing for this extended weekend?
I'm gonna go work on my online game a little bit. Make some new updates and features and make it more user friendly. Work on that mobile version of it. So
okay,
yeah. How about you?
I'm gonna play more Horizon and hopefully get to Dying Light 2, and I want to load up Cyberpunk.
Make it happen, Dan. Yes.
And then next week is going to be, what have you been playing? And I'm like, I didn't get the Cyberpunk. I didn't get the Dying Light. Still been playing Horizon. So
that's a testament.
Horizon, they said, is like 20-something hours. So
that's not too bad.
So I'm going to just dive deep into it, hopefully. Hopefully it still captures me.
Okay. All right. Good deal. I can't wait to hear about it. All right. Well, that is episode 304 in the books, folks. We want to thank you guys for listening to the show, liking, commenting, and doing all the good stuff that you guys do. If you want to interact with us, and we know that you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. And we are part of the Gaming Podcast Alliance. You can check out all of the fine podcasts featured on there at gamingpodcastalliance.com. if you're looking for more gaming goodness. So, please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.